Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final installment of Venza's Hospitality Webinar Series for 2025. I'm Sean Shields, Venza Brand Ambassador, and your host for today's deep dive into the most pressing cybersecurity threats and challenges facing hospitality. Today, we're unpacking risks related to smart devices, a known risk that's been growing exponentially in recent years, especially in hotels, where smart devices are multiplying faster than some security programs can adapt. Our topic: securing smart hotels, Internet of Things challenges. Smart TVs, smart door locks, smart energy systems. The Internet of Things is making hotels smarter, operations faster, and the guest experience more unique. However, each connected device is a potential entry point for cyber criminals. If left unguarded, the same network linking smart TVs and in-room voice controls could connect a threat directly to your core systems and the sensitive data they hold. So what exactly are the hidden risks and challenges, security challenges, that this new smart era of hospitality brings? And more importantly, what measures can you deploy to make your security as smart as the systems it protects? That's what we're here to tackle today. Plus, we'll highlight some of the latest Venza product releases you won't want to miss. Let's dive right in. To navigate today's smart tech threat landscape for hoteliers, I'm pleased to welcome back Venza's technical communicator, Laura Jane Hatcher. She's been investigating IoT risks and the security challenges they pose, charting how this threat has evolved over time. Laura Jane, welcome back.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here, Sean.
Something you mentioned to me earlier that sounded almost like a kind of IoT urban legend was that a casino was once breached through a smart thermometer in an aquarium. Did that actually happen?
Unfortunately, it did happen, Sean. While most people picture cyber attacks, they imagine firewalls, servers, and computers, not a thermometer in a fish tank. Yet that's exactly what happened when attackers breached a North American casino's network using a smart aquarium thermometer to steal 10 gigabytes of data from their high roller database. This story captures the core challenge of the Internet of Things, or IoT. To explain, these smart devices connect to the internet or to each other so they can share data or be controlled remotely. This has been this has added an unparalleled convenience to our daily lives, automating routine tasks, personalizing experiences, and connecting systems. Think of a ring doorbell, which alerts you from miles away, or Alexa coordinating the devices in your home without having to lift a finger. This interconnected convenience has become an expected amenity in hospitality, where its quick adoption has fundamentally reshaped how the industry operates. In-room controls are personalizing guest stays, mobile check-ins are streamlining arrivals, and smart energy systems are reducing waste in real time. But that same connectivity powering modern hotels also creates unprecedented risk. Because smart devices are online, they can be targeted like any other computer. But unlike traditional systems, many lack baseline security controls, and some don't even have the processing power to run them. These and other vulnerabilities make IoT devices especially attractive to cyber criminals who use them as quiet, low-resistant entry points into hotel networks. This is why the casino aquarium breach captures this security challenge so clearly. Instead of trying to break through enterprise-level firewalls, or attackers simply slipped in through an undersecured smart thermometer, likely sitting on the same network as their core systems. IoT is not new. In fact, this particular branch happened over 10 years ago. What is new is the explosion of connected and AI-enabled devices in hotels today. Studies show that 76% of hoteliers rely on them for guest engagement and security. And the more devices you connect, especially ones seemingly harmless as smart thermometers, the more doors you create. Attacks rise, and so does the complexity of managing a sprawling ecosystem of hundreds of devices with uneven security baselines and inconsistent standards. With this in mind, it should come as no surprise then that over 1/3 of breaches now involve IoT. Smart technology delivers real value, but only when it's secure, and that's the challenge. IoT's inherent vulnerabilities, plus the sheer volume of devices across in use across hotels today creates a unique multi-layered security risk. So today I'll be breaking down that hospitality's IoT security challenge. First, we'll cover the vulnerabilities attackers most often exploit in hotel systems. Next, we'll examine why those weaknesses matter as IoT expands throughout hospitality, amplifying both risk and benefit. Finally, we'll tie it all together by looking at the challenges of securing both the vulnerabilities and the scale of modern IoT estates. To start, let's take a look at the vulnerabilities and hidden risks native to smart devices. So weak IoT security makes devices susceptible to unauthorized access, takeover, and data breaches. At the low end, attackers can siphon off whatever the data the device collects. But more seriously, they can seize control, as what happened with the Mariah botnet, which hijacked unsecured IoT devices to launch one of the largest recorded DDoS attacks ever in history. And in the worst case, a compromised device becomes a foothold. Attackers pivot through a poorly segmented network into core systems, and then from there, it's a short point to data theft or ransomware. Across all these scenarios, there are four primary vulnerabilities attackers exploit in IoT security. The first is insecure default settings and passwords. Manufacturer usernames and passwords and open systems are widely known and often weak. If they aren't changed at install, attackers don't need to be clever, they just log in. It's a pervasive risk, with roughly 1 in 5 IoT devices right now running default credentials in production. Account security, more broadly, remains an issue. Weak or reused passwords, credential stuffing, and insecure mobile or web portals offer attackers a direct route into devices and their data. The second vulnerability is unpatched firmware or outdated software, which is behind roughly 60% of IoT breaches. When security updates aren't applied, or when their update processes are insecure, attackers can exploit these flaws. This issue persists for 3 reasons. Many devices are hard to update. Vendors provide uneven patch support, and many devices still depend on manual processes. On top of that, some devices lack the basics, firmware integrity checks, and anti-rollback, so even a legitimate update can be hijacked. The third vulnerability rests on the network the device is on. Even secure devices on vulnerable networks or poorly segmented ones can be vulnerable. Unencrypted or unauthenticated traffic can be intercepted, altered, or replayed, letting attackers probe, pivot, and persist. Once inside, they can move laterally towards higher value systems, harvest credentials, impersonate devices, and tamper with commands. Now, the fourth and probably most overlooked vulnerability is device management. This risk ties directly to the others. Even strong networks and passwords fail if devices aren't monitored, updated, or retired. Gaps appear, rogue, forgotten, or unapproved devices that attackers can quietly exploit. Now, compounding the problem, IoT devices often sit in remote or semi-controlled areas rather than in secure server rooms. Think smart locks, thermostats, TVs scattered across hundreds of guest rooms. Without visibility, the entire estate is operating in the dark. These vulnerabilities, again, aren't new. They're long-standing cybersecurity issues. What is new is the scale. Hospitality's rapid adoption of connected and AI-enabled devices has widened the attack surface dramatically, amplifying exposure with every new device. And that's just the backdrop. Let's take a look at how pervasive IoT has become in hotels and also how it's reshaping operations and the threat landscape alike. Excuse me. To understand just how common smart tech is in hospitality, picture a traveler arriving at a hotel today. They skip the front desk with mobile check-in. Their phone becomes their room key. A tap on a smart lock and they're inside. Now, occupancy sensor triggers the HVAC and a voice assistant handles the lights, blinds, and TV. All of this happens seamlessly, powered by an ecosystem of connected devices. And this technology isn't a luxury anymore, it's the norm. Studies show 76% of hoteliers use IoT for guest engagement and security, and nearly 2/3 have deployed smart energy management systems. And it's not hard to see why. Smart tech is reshaping how hotels operate with real, tangible benefits. On the operations front, you have smart utility management, which is cutting waste dramatically. Hotels usually use about 20,000 gallons of water a day. So even small leaks can add up. Smart water systems are detecting these irregularities in real time, saving hoteliers from potentially catastrophic damaging costs. Now, HVAC often accounts for up to half of a property's expenditures, but smart controls cut that waste by predicting peaks and adjusting set points automatically. And many hotel brands, many major hotel brands rather, are taking notice. Hilton, for example, used AI management tools to reduce their energy and water consumption by 20%, generating more than 1 billion USD in savings. And on the guest side, expectations have changed as well. Travelers want personalized, seamless control from check-in to in-room settings, and smart tech delivers exactly that. But all that convenience comes with a risk, and hospitality has already felt that impact when IoT systems aren't secured. In France, hackers exploited a vulnerability in an IoT thermostat, breaching a hotel's network and stealing thousands of guest records. In Australia, a flaw in IoT security cameras exposed sensitive employee details at a hotel. Another major hotel chain suffered a breach through an IoT self-check-in system, and in another case, guest information was stolen from a connected vending machine. These are just a few of the publicly reported IoT incidents in hospitality. However, together they reveal how the rapid adoption of smart tech has created clear gaps in security, gaps that attackers are eager to exploit. So now that we've explored both the vulnerabilities and the scale of these devices, let's break down how they combine into this web of complexity that makes IoT such a challenge in hospitality. So IoT isn't a single system, it's a sprawling ecosystem of devices, platforms, vendors, all communicating in different ways. For hotel management companies overseeing multiple brands, property types, and technology stacks, this creates a tangled web that can be difficult to govern. Hotels may run dozens, sometimes hundreds of devices that differ types from different manufacturers, each with its own update cycle and security baseline. And that patchwork makes consistency difficult and makes it harder to spot when something's wrong. It's why more than 70% of hoteliers cite ecosystem complexity as their biggest IoT security challenge. But scale isn't only but scale is just one part of the problem. Beyond managing vulnerabilities across thousands of endpoints, there are challenges that make securing these devices uniquely difficult in hospitality. And that first and most predominant factor is visibility. Continuous monitoring is the backbone of cybersecurity, yet most hotels lack the tools or staff to do it effectively. In fact, only 31% of properties report having complete visibility into all their connected devices, including the ability to identify new or previously unseen ones. This means nearly 7 in 10 hotels could have unmonitored devices quietly operating on their networks. And then there's the network design in itself. Weak, absent, or drifting segmentation on a flat or legacy network can turn a small device compromise into a full-scale breach. And remember, these devices aren't always sitting in controlled IT spaces. They're distributed across guest rooms, corridors, and service areas, often tucked behind walls and ceilings. So that second challenge is encryption or the lack of it. Sometimes this happens because encryption increases cost or processing requirements. In other cases, vendors simply just don't have it. Whatever the reason, unencrypted data is low-hanging fruit for attackers. They can intercept, manipulate, or replay the traffic, gaining access to devices, or worse, the systems they connect to. Now, that third challenge is the inconsistency of regulation and standards. In industries like healthcare and finance, IoT devices are bound by strict compliance frameworks. In contrast, hospitality, there's no single rulebook for IoT security. That leaves hotels juggling overlapping obligations, PCI DSS for payment data, GDPR for personal data, and various privacy laws without a clear standard for connected systems. Vendors also interpret best practice differently, leaning to uneven security capabilities and uncertainty about what meets a safe baseline. And finally, then there's just the human factor, awareness. IoT security isn't just a technology problem, it's a perception problem. When leadership treats IoT as just hardware rather than connected technology, investment in ongoing management and monitoring falls behind. New devices get added without rigorous security checks, without inventorying, and without proper segmentation. That mindset leaves hotels exposed because a device that isn't understood won't be properly secured. So, in closing, IoT is transforming hotel operations and the guest experience alike, but its widespread adoption, paired with uneven standards, visibility gaps, and inconsistent management, has made it one of hospitality's fastest growing risk sectors. To stay ahead, hospitality needs visibility, control, and continuous monitoring. That requires a comprehensive IoT management program supported by strong technical controls and modern security solutions that can manage risks at scale. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks so much, Laura Jane. Next, to transform risk into action, I'm delighted to welcome Venza security analyst Jonathan Mallard. Jonathan is a veteran of our security team. He works every day with hotel IT and security leaders to help keep their digital ecosystem secure and compliant with frameworks like PCI DSS. Jonathan, welcome to your first webinar.
Thanks, Sean. It's a pleasure to be here.
To kick us off, could you give everyone a brief look at how our security analysts help hotel portfolios tackle security risks like IoT?
My role as a security analyst at Venza means I get to work directly with our hotel partners day to day. That looks like helping them harden their infrastructure, reduce risk, and line up their operations with the right data protections and compliance frameworks. In many ways, I serve as a guide for safeguarding the complex digital ecosystems that power modern hospitality, where IoT now plays a major role. Before Venza, I also led IoT and data security efforts for large hospitality groups, including Marriott, helping to drive consistent protection initiatives across hundreds of properties. So I come from a background that lives at the intersection of hospitality operations and connected technology. As I mentioned earlier, smart tech delivers clear value across the board, but it also introduces new risk and management challenges that traditional IT is not always designed to handle. Today, I'm going to walk through best practices for securing smart technologies across your hotel portfolio. We will look at what an effective IoT device management program should include, the technical controls that keep it running, and the key considerations when selecting security solutions that help streamline and strengthen your IoT devices. To start, let's dive into the fundamentals of an IoT device management program built for hotels. Because IoT devices cut across multiple departments, brands, and technology owners, one of the first steps every hotel group should take is to establish a formal IoT device management program. This program acts as the backbone of your IoT security. It brings everything under one framework, setting consistent standards, defining clear accountability, and making sure security practices are applied reliably across property and every vendor. At Venza, we recommend structuring this program around three key pillars: governance and scope, lifecycle controls, and maintenance and continuous improvement. The first pillar, governance and scope, focuses on accountability and structure. By designing an IoT owner or lead, this person should work closely with IT operations, technology, and on-site property systems to keep everyone aligned. Their main responsibility is to maintain a single authoritative inventory of every connected device across the portfolio. Once you have that visibility, group devices into classes such as guest room tech, back of the house systems, and arrange risk tiers based on sensitivity of data they handle and their operational impact. From there, map each class to the right frameworks. For example, any device that processes or touches payment systems must meet PCI DSS requirements. A simple way to approach this is to follow a clear sequence: inventory, segment, harden, monitor. Do not reverse that order. Starting with the inventory shrinks the attack surface and makes improvements measurable. Now, because hotels often work with multiple vendors, it's critical to build cross-functional standards for both devices and suppliers. Ensure that the baseline security expectations are spelled out in ink. At a minimum, that includes securing signed firmware updates with rollback protection, configurable log and remote disable or lock capabilities, and the vendor's attestations towards compliance with major data protection frameworks. Finally, set clear expectations for updates. Vendors should state how often they release security updates, quarterly at a minimum, and how quickly they respond to critical vulnerabilities. 30 days is a reasonable standard. The second pillar is lifecycle controls. This is essential for standardizing how devices are deployed and retired. When you commission a new device, follow a consistent process. For example, change the default settings, apply the latest firmware and certificates, disable unnecessary services, and tag it to the correct VLAN or network segment. When a device reaches end of life or is replaced, decommission it securely. Wipe all the data and configurations, revoke any active certificates or keys, and remove it from your inventory and monitoring tools. The third pillar is maintenance and continuous improvement. This is what makes security part of everyday operations, not just a one-time project. You want an IoT management built right into the property workflows. This can be as simple as using checklists for installs, updating firmware, changing default credentials, put the device on the right network, and only enable the security protocols it actually needs. Set a predictable path rhythm, schedule maintenance windows by device class, and always test updates in one property or even one floor before rolling them out across the portfolio. For monitoring, define your property's golden network pattern, which devices should talk to which systems, then set alerts for anything that falls outside of that pattern. Each quarter, run a quick hygiene review. Check for rogue or forgotten devices, outdated firmware, open services, or anything that has been drifted out of its assigned segment. And to see if the program is working, track a few simple metrics, like the percentage of devices running current firmware and the percentage that are properly segmented. Now that we've covered the fundamentals of IoT device management program, let's shift into the essential technical controls that we need to be in place. Technical controls are the backbone of IoT security. There are 4 areas to focus on. First, identifying and hardening at the device edge. Every device needs its own unique credentials, never shared, never left on defaults, and where possible, certificate-based authentication in line with OWASP guidance. Make sure updates are secure, firmware should be digitally signed, delivered over authenticated channels, and support safe rollback. Then apply least functionality. Turn off any services, ports, or protocols the device does not need. Things like Telnet, UPnP should be disabled. Second, network security. Segment your networks by function and risk. Guest Wi-Fi, staff systems, building management, and payment systems should all be separate. Use deny by default access control lists, and in higher risk areas, add microsegmentation. All data and management traffic should be encrypted. TLS 1.2 or higher. WPA3 for wireless and clear text protocols should be removed entirely. Third, monitoring and logging. Send device and gateway logs into a central SIM. Log authentication attempts, configuration changes, update activity, and any unusual traffic, especially outbound connections to destinations you do not expect. Then compare their behavior against your golden communications map. If, for example, a guest room TV starts scanning your property management subnet, that is a clear red flag. 4. Payment adjacency. Any devices that touches or even sits close to your cardholder data environment must follow PCI DSS hardening requirements. That means anti-tamper protections, keeping the CDE on dedicated isolated segments, and using only compliant vetted payment terminals in line with PCI SSC guidelines. Now, for these 4 elements to form the core of your essential technical controls. However, Even with strong governance and technical controls, traditional cybersecurity tools like intrusion detection systems and firewalls can struggle with IoT. Traditional tools have some big gaps. They often lack visibility into unmanaged or unusual devices, struggle to interpret behavioral data, or rely on manual rules for every exception in practice. That means vulnerabilities can still slip through if you do not have full visibility into every device on your network. Risks stay hidden. This is where dedicated IoT system solutions come in. Implementing one or enhancing your existing setup through a security operations center or SOC helps automate detection, response, and management at scale. When you assess IoT security solutions, look for complete visibility into all connected devices, managed, unmanaged, and unknown, automated risk scoring based on firmware, manufacturer, open ports, and data flows, detection of both known and unknown threats, including zero-day exploitations, machine learning and behavioral analytics to spot anomalies, like a thermostat suddenly talking to external hosts, real-time continuous operation, ideally at the network edge, to cut latency and analyze events locally. And finally, scalability via cloud or trusted IoT architectures. Be cautious of tools sold as IoT security that only give you visibility and very little enforcement. If they require heavy manual configuration or rule building, they slow down the time to value and weaken any zero trust strategy. Visibility without control still leaves a gap. To wrap up, securing smart hotel environments takes both structure and action. A strong IoT device management program creates clear accountability and consistency across every property. Robust technical controls then harden segment and monitor devices with the same rigor you apply to other critical systems. Finally, by using purpose-built IoT security solutions or by integrating IoT into your existing SOC, hotels gain continuous visibility and protection they need as connected devices grow and threats keep evolving. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. Up next, Venza's product director, Casey Harrigan. Casey's here to unveil our latest hospitality built releases that deliver end-to-end protection. Take it away, Casey.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of the product team, I'm excited to have the opportunity to share some new updates with you today. First is tabletop exercises. As mentioned earlier, IoT systems are associated with 1 in 3 cybersecurity breaches. Even highly mature organizations with robust security programs remain vulnerable to disruptive events when operational environments evolve or attack techniques advance. To mitigate the scale and impact of these incidents, well-defined, comprehensive, and routinely evaluated incident response procedures are critical. To support this need, Venza is introducing tabletop exercises, a structured, discussion-driven program to help hotel management teams realistically model and assess their response to cyber incidents. These exercises simulate real-world, hospitality-specific attack scenarios to evaluate technical response activities, internal and external communications, stakeholder decision-making, and business continuity considerations. The primary objective is to assess cross-departmental readiness, identify capability and procedural gaps, and strengthen an organization's overall response maturity. Each exercise is supported by reference materials to maximize learning outcomes and promote actionable improvements. These include a facilitator manual that explains how to organize and execute the scenario, participant packets with prompts in context to align participants and guide contributions, and post-exercise resources, including worksheets, reference materials, and tools to document the findings. To get started with tabletop exercises, contact sales@venzagroup.com. I also wanted to mention expansion of our training content. Workforce training and ongoing awareness are foundational to reducing human factor risk. To support this, we've expanded the industry-leading Venza Learning Content Library, introducing new training content courses that address emerging cybersecurity and regulatory challenges within hotel environments. Recent additions include the following course titles: Advanced GDPR for Hoteliers, Incident Response in Hospitality, and Ransomware Defense. These offerings are delivered as elective courses, enabling organizations to augment core security awareness curricula with specialized training. Programs can be tailored to specific property-level requirements, risk profiles, and operational roles, resulting in targeted and adaptive learning pathways. All elective courses are multilingual and available in English, German, French, and Spanish, with select content offered in up to 6 additional languages. We're also pleased to share that we've released a new PCI DSS learning path. A series of 5 courses, this path provides training to staff of all roles and responsibility levels on the fundamentals of PCI DSS compliance. Courses in this path include PCI DSS Introduction, PCI DSS Requirements, Scanning, Device Tampering, and Best Practices for Hoteliers. For additional information on the expanded course catalog or Venza's broader ecosystem of hospitality-focused educational solutions, contact sales@venzagroup.com. I also wanted to talk about AI-powered phishing. Phishing remains a persistent and highly effective global attack vector. To help hospitality organizations assess and reduce susceptibility, Venza has implemented major enhancements to its phishing simulation products. First, we're excited to share the upcoming release of automated interaction detection. Historically, anti-phishing tools have been clouded by the challenge of distinguishing legitimate interactions of real human users, such as clicking links or improperly sharing secure credentials, from the automated interactions of email security tools. Often, the interaction of tools, such as sniffing the link within an email, can be recorded as a user interaction, creating false positives and inaccurate reporting. To address this, automated interaction detection, or AID, is a next-generation feature that will accompany all Venza phishing campaigns. Powered by advanced AI and machine learning models, this proprietary algorithm blends Venza's in-house threat intelligence and behavioral profiling engines with device-based analytics that evaluate more than 100 forensic-grade signals, including browser attributes, network configurations, and device settings, to expertly parse authentic user behavior. Eliminating the noise of automated interactions, AID ensures security awareness efforts reflect true user performance, elevating campaign accuracy and decision-making confidence. The result is a phishing platform that is more intelligent, more adaptive, and more capable than ever before. Second, Venza is introducing AI-driven simulation campaigns. As large language models increase both the sophistication and scalability of modern phishing, these simulations replicate high-fidelity, context-aware attack patterns currently used against hoteliers. Scenarios use realistic lures, vendor spoofing, guest service impersonation, and other common techniques. The new content complements our existing library of hospitality-specific simulations, along with foundational exercises that reflect broader industry tactics. To learn more or preview the latest AI-powered templates, contact your customer success coach. And finally, we're proud to announce the soon release of a PCI DSS self-assessment questionnaire assistance feature within the Venza system, our flagship risk management and reporting platform. The new tool provides hospitality leaders with immediate visibility into SAQ status across their portfolio properties, giving them a quick, at-a-glance insight into areas that require attention. This feature integrates directly with your PCI compliance portal and delivers transparency at both the organization and property levels, highlighting completion progress and compliance trends over time. This enhanced functionality will streamline oversight, reduce administrative burdens, and accelerate time to compliance. That's all for the product team. Back to you, Sean.
That wraps up this Venza 2025 Hospitality Webinar Series. Thank you all for joining us today. Looking ahead to 2026, we're pleased to announce an evolution in our webinar delivery model. In response to the demanding operational schedules of our hospitality partners, we will transition from quarterly to pre-scheduled sessions to an on-demand format designed to provide significantly greater flexibility and accessibility. This shift enables our teams to engage with our educational content at their convenience, regardless of time zone, staffing constraints, or peak business periods, ensuring that critical cybersecurity and regulatory insights are available when they're most needed. Through this model, you will continue to benefit from timely analysis from our in-house subject matter experts on emerging threats, evolving compliance requirements, and broader industry trends. Our new on-demand sessions, along with recordings of previous webinars, will be available at venzagroup.com. That's all for now. Thanks again. Until next time, stay secure.